Imagine how strange it must feel to change the course of history without ever firing a shot. No battlefield glory, no medals earned in the open, no dramatic moment where the world applauds. Just silence. Patience. And a mind sharp enough to stay 3 moves ahead while everyone around you thinks they already know who you are. That's the core of this story. A man who stood close to Hitler's inner circle. Who appeared to be serving the Nazi war machine, and yet was quietly doing the exact opposite. So effectively that even the most paranoid regime in history never truly saw him coming. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the deception itself, but the discipline behind it. Anyone can lie once. Very few can live inside a lie for years without slipping. This man understood something most people don't. The most convincing lies are built on truth. He didn't invent wild fantasies or dramatic intelligence reports. Instead, he delivered information that felt real, useful, and boring enough to be believable. He knew that intelligence officers aren't seduced by excitement. They're seduced by consistency. So he gave them just enough accuracy to build trust. And just enough distortion to quietly bend reality in the Allies' favor. Inside Hitler's Germany, suspicion was a way of life. Power was built on fear, and fear bred constant internal surveillance. Everyone was watching everyone else. In that environment, survival alone required emotional control. Thriving required something more. An ability to read people. Understand their incentives, and mirror exactly what they expected to see. This double agent didn't argue ideology. He didn't stand out. He became, in every visible way, the kind of person the regime wanted. Disciplined, obedient, reliable. That's what allowed him to get close. And closeness, in intelligence, is everything. The brilliance of his strategy was patience. While others rushed to prove their value, he let time do the work. He allowed small successes to accumulate. Each correct detail he passed along strengthened his credibility. Each successful prediction reinforced the belief that he was indispensable. Over time, that belief hardened into something dangerous for the Nazis. Reliance. Once they depended on him, questioning him became inconvenient. Doubt requires effort, and people in power tend to avoid effort when things appear to be working. This is where the real outsmarting happened. He didn't just deceive individuals. He manipulated systems. Bureaucracies reward continuity. Once a source is labeled trusted, information flows more freely. Reports move faster. Scrutiny decreases. He exploited that. The lies he fed weren't dramatic reversals of reality. They were subtle nudges. A troop movement exaggerated here. A timing estimate delayed there. A reassurance that allowed complacency at exactly the wrong moment. None of it looked suspicious in isolation. Together, it reshaped decisions at the highest level. And Hitler's inner circle, for all its power, was deeply flawed. It was an echo chamber built on loyalty tests, not truth. Officers competed for approval, not accuracy. Bad news was softened, filtered, or delayed because no one wanted to be the messenger who triggered Hitler's rage. That environment made deception easier, not harder. When information already bends to protect egos, a skilled manipulator can guide it almost effortlessly. The double agent understood this instinctively. He didn't fight the system. He flowed with it. There's a quiet lesson here about how power actually works. We often imagine that the most powerful people see everything clearly. In reality, they see what reinforces their existing beliefs. This agent never tried to change Hitler's worldview. He used it. He fed intelligence that aligned with what the leadership already wanted to believe. That the enemy was weaker, divided, or moving in predictable ways. The result wasn't just misinformation. It was overconfidence. And overconfidence is one of the most expensive mistakes any decision-maker can make. What's remarkable is how little ego played into his actions. There was no room for vanity. One emotional reaction, one impulsive move, and the entire illusion could collapse. He lived with constant risk, knowing that discovery wouldn't mean prison. It would mean death. And yet, he stayed measured, calm, professional. That self-control is what separates a clever liar from a true strategist. He wasn't trying to win moments. He was trying to win outcomes. As the war progressed, the stakes grew higher. The information he influenced wasn't abstract. It affected real operations, real soldiers, real lives. Timing mattered. Precision mattered. And still, the deception held. Nazi intelligence continued to treat him as a valuable asset, even as their strategic position worsened. That's the cruel irony. The more desperate they became, the more tightly they clung to sources they believed they could trust. And he remained exactly where he needed to be. From the Allied perspective, this kind of intelligence work was priceless. Armies move on logistics and planning, but wars are often won in advance. By shaping what the enemy thinks is coming. By the time battles were fought, decisions had already been made based on assumptions. This double agent helped shape those assumptions. He didn't just pass information. He influenced expectations. And when expectations are wrong, even the strongest force can stumble. What makes this story resonate beyond history is how modern it feels. The same principles apply today. Influence isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about being trusted. Deception isn't about complexity. It's about plausibility. And the most effective long-term strategies rarely look dramatic in the moment. They look boring, repetitive, almost invisible. That's why they work. In the end, this wasn't a story of physical courage but psychological endurance. Of someone who understood that the real battlefield was the mind. That controlling narratives, perceptions, and confidence could be more decisive than controlling territory. Hitler's inner circle believed they had eyes everywhere. What they didn't realize was that one of those eyes was looking in the opposite direction the entire time. And when the war finally turned decisively against them, they never truly understood how much of their certainty had been manufactured. That's the quiet power of a master deceiver. By the time the truth emerges, it's too late to matter. The decisions are made. The momentum has shifted. History has already moved on. This double agent didn't defeat the Nazi regime alone. But he represents something essential about how great victories actually happen. Not through noise. Not through spectacle. But through discipline, patience, and an unwavering commitment to the long game. While others sought recognition, he sought effectiveness. And in doing so, he proved that sometimes the most dangerous weapon in any war is a calm mind that knows exactly when to stay silent.